We've got the light is red. That means we are back Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Central for another exciting money moves for you. How you doing, Wendy?
Doing awesome. How are you?
Awesome. The warm
Good.
weather is staying with us, so I'm so excited. It's another beautiful day here in Middle Tennessee, and the leaves have fallen, but that's okay. It's still nice and warm and sunny outside, so I'll take it. I will take it. But we've got some exciting stuff we're talking about today. So a lot of things, people want to fake it till they make it or whatever, look the part or this, that, or the other. And what happens is, a certain group, namely Main Street America, buys things to look the part. But if you're money smart, you're not really spending money on certain things, right? We're going to talk about that. So that's the title of this episode. The things money smart people aren't buying. And the question is, are you one of them or are you one of the other people? So we'll find out in just a few seconds and we'll get started real quick. So we are back and we're live, Wendy. So let's talk about this. I consider myself money smart, but am I like A++ money smart? I don't know. So, and I know you have been on that journey over the last few weeks, months, years, right? Kind of getting your financial house and becoming a financial guru in your own right. So let's talk about it. I mean, I think certain people buy things to look a certain way. Yeah. Even though they're not, that's why I lease cars or whatever. And there's a time and place for everything. So, if you're a viewer out there, don't get all butthurt if it's the one thing. We're not talking about you. We're talking generalities here.
Yeah.
But, talk to me on this. I mean, do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, there's certain things I feel like for me specifically, I can speak to me. And the things that I did that I thought like I either had to buy or couldn't say no to if I really am doing well. And it was like a prove myself kind of thing. And then some things are like what I would say just money conscious people are not spending on.
Yeah.
Because once you understand how money works, that was the big switch for me. Once I understood how money works and what it really looks like to grow it and what that can do for you in the future and how really every dollar counts, then you start to look at things differently.
Yeah, and you want to be intentional about everything. You work so hard for your money. You want to be intentional about it. And are you putting it in the right places? And one of the first things that jump to mind, and I tell all my clients this, never, money smart people never buy new cars, brand new cars. They may buy a new to you car, but to go out and buy, I don't care what the financing is. Well, I don't care. Here's the deal, right? When you buy a new car, immediately drive it off the lot. What typically happens?
Value goes down.
Loses value 10 to 20%, right? So I always tell my clients, like, imagine if you handed me $100,000 to place somewhere for you, right? And I took that money into my hands and literally turned around and walked 50 feet and turned back around and faced you and said, oops, I lost 15%. I lost 15,000 of your 100 grand. Would you be happy with me? No, you'd hate me.
You'd be fired.
Yeah, exactly. But we do that with cars all the time. Oh, great. No, that's how you get upside down on it. And then you're buying a car and they start talking about gap insurance, you bought wrong, right? Because that means you owe more than the car's worth. So, it's one of those things you got to be aware of that. And that happens on even some used cars as well. So buy smart, shop around. But I always tell people, buy a new to you car. Now, that doesn't mean you buy an old car, a year, 2 years old. It's probably still under the warranty, because of the mileage and things like that if you're buying smart. But again, brand new cars, that's not a smart way to spend your money, right?
Yeah, but it feels good to walk in that dealership and be like, oh, here's what I'm here for. Yeah. I agree. I've bought new, and the last I've bought 2 new. After the first one, I said I'll never do it again, and then I worked for a company that gave me a stipend to buy the car, And so I was like, oh, I'll buy new, right? I have a reason. But even then, hindsight, I could have bought a year old and I could have had the company pay for it and I could have owned it.
Still look sharp. So number one, don't buy a new car. What else?
Yeah. So top of the line, like who has to have always the newest iPhone or the newest tech thing that comes out? I have someone in my family that always has to have the newest tech thing that comes out. And I think back to, I was in my early 20s and we had a friend that sold the plasma TVs. Do you remember those?
I had one of those actually.
The plasma TVs. And they were, I think I have a kid coming in the room. Sorry. And they were like 10 grand for a flat screen TV. Well, it's when they first came out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We went to this showroom that our friend had, like this showroom with all of them. And people were spending so much money on those TVs. And now you can get flat screens. Well, and plasmas aren't even cool anymore, but you can get the high def flat screens for like $300.
I know, right? You walk through a Walmart, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's, that's just crazy. But yeah, so top line technology, you've got the phone users out there. Yep. Apple, that's kind of a cult. Samsung people say it's a cult, which I'm a proud member. But got to have the latest and greatest. I'm rocking an iPhone 12, a 12C, right? And it still works perfectly well. I guess they've admitted that they were shortening batteries. They don't do that anymore. So thanks for the love, Apple. But it's one of those things that, you don't need that new technology. So that's number two, top of the line technology. Number three, and I'm a big, big advocate on this one. Don't buy your fancy schmancy foo-foo coffee at wherever as you're going. And some of you just probably passed out. Then I've got to have my Starbucks. I've got to have my Starbies, right? My daughter told me this. I'm like, what the hell's a Starbies? She's like, it's Starbucks, Dad. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm so out of it, right? But again, back in the day before I started doing this, I had a Starbucks Gold card. I ordered off the private menu. And then I started looking at what I'm spending. I mean, you're dropping $5, $6 a day, which, hey, it's no big deal, right? But add that up. 22 days a month, right? $5 a pop. And yet you're not maxing out your investment strategy, your wealth strategies, things like that. Be intentional about every dollar. But I'm sure you don't go to Starbucks or anything, right, Wendy?
I used to. I don't much anymore, but I will tell you that just today, my son's like, can we go to Dunkin' Donuts? Which, seems in my mind that it's cheaper than Starbucks, but he got an iced caramel latte and it was $5.99. Yeah. And I was just like, this is why we don't do this regularly. That's $6 for you to slurp something down in 27 seconds. I mean, and you know what, I would much rather have like the Nespresso coffee at home. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like spend the $1,000 on the Nespresso and then make coffees for yourself forever.
Yeah, I'm a simple man, like the old song says, and I rock my Keurig. So I've got my little K-cup, which I do recycle. I've got a little slicer for it. Yeah, I mean, I'm a simple guy. Throw in some coffee, give me some stevia, I'm good. But anyway, so number three is fancy coffee, no mas.
Yeah.
What else?
So you might argue with me on this. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm gonna start by saying this. I used to not have a TV, okay, because I'm too busy for TV. But then I got a TV, and now like people have the streaming services, and they've got Netflix and Hulu and this and that and Peacock and blah 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 blah. Like, money smart people are not spending what was an equivalent to a cable bill on streaming services.
I think you're blaspheming a little bit there. So that is my thing. Now you've got great, and she's right. Limit what you do, but that's kind of my thing. Not to watching TV. I'm a movie fiend, so I love catching all the movies and stuff like that. Old movies, new movies. But I do, Vudu's a free one that's out there. Tubi, which I think is phenomenal. That's a free one out there. And I turned my kids onto that one. They're, college graduates now. And I said, hey, you can check that on Tubi. No, what's Tubi? Oh my gosh. I mean, it's like Starbies, right? But it's television, Tubi. But there's a lot of free services out there. And you're right, to have many and ask, are you using them? The answer is no, cut them loose, right? If you've got one person out of the family using it, cut it loose, right? So again, that stuff can add up. It seems cheap, and now all the prices are going up. Netflix, for example,
it's crazy. Yeah,
it's like all of a sudden, well, if you want to add somebody else, it's now going to be $30 a month. I'm like, I'm sorry, Netflix, you were great like 3 years ago. Disney left your platform. I don't know, maybe rethink it. But it's one of those that there are too many. Figure out another monetization form, because you charging people $30 a month ain't gonna work.
Well, we got rid of it all to not have the cable bill. Well, we got rid of cable, sorry, to not have the cable bill, to have the cheap streaming services. And now, I mean, we do financial plans with people, right? And I ask, not, do you have cable? No. Well, how much are you spending on streaming services? About $150.
It's like, it's the same thing, right? And Cox Cable's out there going, dang it, man. But yeah, so number 4 is multiple streaming service. Number 5, expensive clothes. Don't get me wrong, I like to look good, and I have some clothes that, I'll go out and I really like that. I'm going to spend a little extra because I, reward myself. But for Main Street, I'm not buying clothes. Here's why. I don't buy a bunch of expensive clothes. And I know wealthy people are like, well, I would, but whatever. If that's what you want to do with your money, you do you, boo. But here's the thing. All this stuff is made in one area of the world, Southeast Asia, right? You've got China all the way down to Cambodia, Vietnam, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Look at the tags. They're all made. And I've even seen, this is no kidding, I've even seen in a store that will remain nameless, 2 shirts, 2 different brand names that look very similar. I put them next to each other. It was the same shirt with 2 different brands. I kid you not. And that's what's going on. What's that?
They use a lot of similar manufacturers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, they're all made overseas by the same materials and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong, quality control or whatever. But I mean, if you want to reward yourself, but if you're constantly buying, you know who you are, expensive clothes, and ladies, that includes shoes. Do you really need it? I mean, especially if you walk in and you've got rows and stacks of boxes of shoes and things like that, you probably overdid it a little bit. And could that money have been better serving you, making more money for you while you slept? And the answer, of course, yes. So that's number 5, expensive clothes. What's next, Wendy?
I'm going to talk about frequent salon visits, because I used to be this girl. And really, it was just this year that I changed. I was spending like $250 on my hair every 6 weeks. I was getting my nails done every 3 weeks, and that was $50. I was getting my toes done every 4 weeks, and that was $30, $40, and I was getting my lashes done every 2 weeks, which was $75. When I did the math, I was like, I'm spending $500 a month,
$6,000 a year
on looking pretty, right? And I don't know. I mean, I think I look all right now, and I'm not spending all that. So I don't do the nails anymore. I might bring the nails back because that's another story. However, the lashes I do myself. I found someone to do my hair. She does an excellent job, and she does it in my house, and gives me what I want with my hair. And I have a much more low maintenance plan. So I mean, I get it. Like, we have our things that we've got to have, and I think with all of these things, as we go through a few more too, it's not about, hey, don't ever do this. It's about, you need to make sure that you're doing right by the rest of your finances and you're set up for financial success in the future. And if you are good and golden, then, pick your things that you want. But
exactly.
Yeah, for me, I wasn't at a spot where I had my debt paid off and I was stacking cash like I need to. So the $500 a month for self-care is a little much.
There you go. So number 6, salon is number 7. And I've seen this with several clients, ordering takeout, right? Constantly eating out and not cooking at home. And there's the bane of your financial success, this little organization called DoorDash. Yeah. I'll never forget the first time I saw DoorDash. You go to any fast food or anything like that. Now you see the little window and they got these little, food delivery DoorDash. There's several others too. I don't know them. I don't use them. So I don't know them all. But literally I was in a Dairy Queen on a road trip, and I popped in there because I was a little grumpy. It was hot in the summer. I'm like, you know what would make my life a little better? A banana split blizzard, little one. So I stopped in there, and there was a person in front of me, and they said, yeah, I'm here from DoorDash. And they literally got a peanut butter parfait. And I remember it because I was so blown away that somebody did this. They had it DoorDash to their house. And I'm like, wait a minute. So, and I started going into dad mode. I'm like, how much are they paying you for this? He said, well, the delivery service, I think it was like going to be $4 or $5 or something like that, where they were going. And then there's a tip. Let's not forget that, because you got to tip the person, bring it to you. And I'm like, so they're buying a $5, $6 ice cream and literally paying twice as much not to get off the couch to come in and get it themselves and get out in the beautiful sun. And, and I've talked to clients that they'll literally be spending $300, $400, $500 a month for DoorDash. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And so again, this isn't, hey, don't have fun in life, right? That's why when we do budgets with people, we don't call them budget, we call them spending plan. You plan to spend today and enjoy life, but you plan to spend and be intentional about your money so you have wealth later on. But those, the constant takeout, worst case, use a food service like HelloFresh or Factor or one of the other ones that are out there. And the food is phenomenal. I've used HelloFresh personally, not endorsing them by any means, but I guess I am. It's one HelloFresh. If you want to sponsor our show, I'd love to talk to you. But it's one of those things that, it's so much healthier for you because that food you don't know where it's coming from. And let's be honest, that's a big issue today. Plus it's typically not good for you, rich and fatty and stuff like that. So live longer, be healthier, and save money, and take that money and again, put it somewhere else to grow for you. So number 7 is the constant takeout and delivery service.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how much people spend on that. All right. And then I think this might be the last one we share, but would love to hear from you guys if there's more. But I would say gym memberships.
Ooh, yeah.
We're going into the new year, and what's everybody do? Buy some new gym.
If I have a gym membership, I'll use it.
And the truth is, like, I'm blown away. I mean, gyms survive on all the memberships that aren't used.
Q1, right? Baby.
That's how they make it. Yep. And so I actually was about to sign back up for my bar classes where I go in. And I was like, you know what? I need to commit, because once you get into those things, it's hard to get out of those memberships.
Oh, yeah. And it's like running the gauntlet, getting that canceled.
And so I paid for this app. I paid $97 for the year, and I have workouts every single day. And I'm like, you know what? If I care about my health, I need to prove it, and I need to do this. And if I do this app, this 90-day plan, and I want to go back to the gym, then I'll get my gym membership. But I need to prove to myself that I'm going to do the work before I spend money.
Exactly. And that's the key right there, is reward yourself. And that's the thing with all of these things, folks. We're not saying don't enjoy life, right? That's not what we're saying at all. But number one, you got to have your financial priorities first, right? Ask yourself, is this purchase making me or bringing me closer or further away from my financial goals? And that's the big picture, because eventually every one of us wants to retire, and we want to have a nice retirement. I'm not talking about just barely getting by with, sitting here eating ramen every night, right? So you've got to plan accordingly. But if you have your bills paid off, you're debt free. I'm not talking mortgage. That's where those gurus and I disagree. But the unsecured debt, cars and stuff like that, if all that's paid off, you're maxing out your savings account, you're on track to hit your goals. Yeah, of course, enjoy life. But, again, just to recap, say no to the new car. Okay. You're going to take a financial hit within minutes of you signing the paperwork. Top of the line tech.
Top of the line tech.
Yeah. Top of the line tech. The fancy coffee, you know what? Folgers in Maxwell House. We all know Maxwell House, right? It's good stuff. I'm just kidding. You can have your fancy coffee, make it at home. Buy yourself an espresso, buy yourself a Keurig or a little French frothing machine, whatever. I don't even know how to make those things. Multiple streaming services. We can agree to disagree with that to some extent, right? I think some are okay. Leverage the free ones out there. There's a lot of them out there. The expensive clothes, name brand stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. And again, you don't have to go completely cold turkey, but do you really need name brand socks, right? Do you really need, it's just one of those things. Be smart, buy smart, right? Go thrifting. I mean, my daughter's a queen of thrifting. She's come out with stuff that I'm like, that looks brand new. She's like, yeah, well, salon visits, hey, ladies, I'm just speaking. We love you looking great. Do it smartly, right? Do it smartly. The constant takeout, it's better for you making it at home. And, if you don't want to cook and don't want to shop and buy that stuff, use a food service like HelloFresh, Factor, or any of the others. And then lastly, that gym membership, I'm going to tell you right now, and I've done that several years. If I have it, I'll use it. I promise. Yeah, I use it for a minute, and then it's like, man, this stinks. It's cold because it's January, right? It's cold, getting up early to go out. And then I feel like everybody's judging me because I'm not doing it fast enough or hard enough or whatever. I don't know how to use a machine. There's a lot of apps out there where you can do resistance exercises, get in shape that way. And like Wendy said, reward yourself with the gym membership at that point. Okay, I don't have to lift the jugs full of water anymore, the rocks. I can go and actually use a machine at the gym now. But anyway, hopefully that helped you guys. Wendy, anything else to add?
No, I would just say if you're watching and you have other things that you think people waste money on, drop it in the comments. We want to hear
Yeah. Give us a thumbs up. I ask that every time. And we do have a lot of new followers coming in, and we're getting comments and stuff too, and direct comments, which is great. But give us a little like down below. Click that subscribe button as well. And if you want to catch some past episodes, go to blackswanmoney.com. Blackswanmoney.com. Show some love. And if you have a topic you want to hear about, let us know and we'll get you worked in. Thanks, everybody. See you next Tuesday for another Money.